All right, today we're diving into a topic that's, well, it's incredibly personal and complex. We're talking about euthanasia and the right to choose. We're going to explore how India is navigating this tough issue, looking at recent court rulings and a really important tool called a living will. And really, this is the question at the heart of it all, isn't it? It's this profound conflict between our ability to prolong life, our personal freedoms, and what the law says about human suffering. So, where does society draw that line? So, here's our game plan. We'll start with the human side of the story. Then, we'll break down the crucial difference between passive and active euthanasia. From there, we'll look at how India's laws have changed, explain exactly what a living will is, and finally, see how this all fits into the bigger global picture. Before we get into all the legal definitions in court cases, it's so important to remember why we're even having this conversation. It all starts with real people and real families at the center of this debate. You know, this isn't some abstract theoretical debate. It's driven by heartbreaking situations, like the case of Harish Rana, who has been in a vegetative state for over a decade. His father's plea to the courts, it's a powerful reminder of the incredible emotional weight behind these legal battles. And it's cases just like his that have forced India's laws to evolve. Okay, so this is super important. Before we go any further, we absolutely have to get the language right. This distinction between passive and active euthanasia. It's pretty much the bedrock of India's entire legal stance on the subject. On the surface, the basic definition of euthanasia seems pretty straightforward, right? It's a medical act to relieve suffering. But the real complexity, the thing that creates the entire ethical and legal debate, is in how that happens. And this slide right here, it just perfectly captures that legal line in the sand. On one side, you've got active euthanasia, a direct action, like an injection to end a life, that is completely banned in India. On the other side is passive euthanasia, which is about withdrawing medical intervention and allowing the underlying condition to run its natural course. This is the only form that's legally recognized, and the key idea is that you're not causing death, you're simply not artificially prolonging the dying process. So how did we get here? How did passive euthanasia become legally recognized in India? Well, it wasn't a single law passed overnight. It's been a gradual evolution, really led by the courts over the past 15 years or so. This one sentence, this right here from the Supreme Court in 2018, it's the absolute cornerstone of this entire legal shift. And what's so fascinating is how the court framed it. It's not a separate right to die. No, it's an extension of the fundamental right to life, basically arguing that a life devoid of dignity is not a life the Constitution forces you to endure. You can really see the learning curve here on this timeline. The door first cracked open back in 2011 with the Aruna Shonbag case. Then came the landmark moment in 2018, which fully legalized passive euthanasia and introduced the idea of living wills. But what's really crucial is that 2023 update. It shows the court realizing that its first set of rules were just too complicated in real life, and they've been actively trying to make this right a workable reality. And the story's not over. Following the court's lead, the government itself stepped in with new draft guidelines in August 2024. The whole idea is to move from court principles to a standard procedure that every hospital can follow. This proposed two-tier medical board system is all about creating a clear, consistent, and very careful process for making these unbelievably tough decisions. So we've talked about the courts, we've talked about the government, but what about you? What about your choices? Well, this is where the living will comes in. It's a concept designed to shift the power from the state to the individual. Honestly, the best way to think about it is this. You know how a regular will takes care of your property after you pass away? Well, a living will takes care of your medical wishes while you're still alive but can't make decisions for yourself. It's an advanced directive that lets you speak for yourself even when you can no longer literally speak. And the process to create one is actually designed to be pretty clear and accessible. You write down your wishes, you name trusted people, called surrogates, to make decisions for you, and then you get it all formally signed and witnessed. It's a concrete set of steps anyone can take to protect their choices in the future. And here's the crucial point. This isn't some obscure legal tool for just a few people. Any adult, 18 years or older, who is of sound mind has the right to create a living will. This really empowers every single adult in India to take control of their own end-of-life care decisions. Okay, so that's the landscape in India. But how does all this fit into the global conversation? Let's zoom out for a second and see how other countries are handling this. First, a quick definition. Internationally, you'll often hear the broader term assisted dying. Think of it as an umbrella term. It covers what India calls active euthanasia, but it also includes physician-assisted suicide, where a doctor provides the means, but the patient is the one who takes the final action. And as you can see, the global approach is, well, it's all over the map. The UK is still very restrictive. Switzerland is famous, or maybe infamous, for a unique system that has led to something called death tourism. And then you have places like the Netherlands, which are among the most liberal in the world. This really puts India's stance, allowing only passive euthanasia, into perspective. It's a cautious, kind of middle ground position on the world stage. So, after all that, what are the most important things to walk away with? First, passive euthanasia, that's withdrawing treatment, is legal in India for those who are terminally ill. Second, this right is built on the really profound idea that the right to life includes the right to die with dignity. And finally, the living will is the practical tool that puts this power directly into your hands. And all of this leaves us with one final big question. Modern medicine is incredible. It can keep our bodies going longer than ever before. But that brings us right back to our central dilemma, one that we as a society are going to have to keep wrestling with. Where is that line between prolonging life and just prolonging suffering?